Let's go ahead and bring your witness in.
State Hall, Sharon Cooper.
When we come back from breaks, if it's a new witness, let's get them loaded up instead of waiting for them to come in after the jury gets here.
Ms. Cooper, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, have a seat for me and speak up into that microphone in front of you so that all of these folks can hear you, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, my name is Sharon Cooper.
I'm going to scoot this microphone. I'm gonna have
Can you hear it?
A little bit. And then, there we go.
Okay.
Okay?
Sharon Cooper.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
How is it that you know the defendant in this case, Melody Farris?
We were friends. We lived in the same neighborhood, and we used to walk a lot together and spend time together, get nails done together, go shopping together, that type of thing.
What year did you meet Ms. Farris?
2016.
And you said you used to walk together a lot. How frequently would you walk?
Oh, for a period of time there, it was, I would say, daily.
On these walks, would you share personal information about your lives?
Yes.
Have you ever met Gary Farris?
Yes.
About how well did you know Gary Farris?
Not very well, actually.
Did you know Scott Farris?
Yes.
And how well did you know Scott Farris?
Acquaintances, not very well.
What did you know about Melody and Gary's relationship?
That it was strained and not close.
Did you and Melody discuss the Farris's finances ever?
Yeah.
In what context?
Just she shared with me that she didn't have access to any of the money, that her name had been taken off of everything, and so she didn't have access.
Okay. And if you could, I know it's hard to speak up a little bit.
Okay.
Did she have any debit cards? Credit cards?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did she have a debit card?
Yes.
How did you know that?
She told me.
And would you go shopping together?
Yes.
When you would go shopping together, would Gary know where Melody was shopping?
Yes.
How would he know that?
Because if she ran the debit card, he got a notification immediately.
Did she ever explain to you how she felt in her marriage?
Yeah, she wasn't happy in her marriage.
Did she ever express to you why she wouldn't leave Gary?
Yeah.
What was that?
It had to do with wanting to stay because if she left, she wouldn't have access to any funds.
Did you learn about a man named Rusty Barton when you were walking with Melody?
Yes.
Who was Rusty Barton?
Rusty Barton was her boyfriend.
Whose boyfriend?
Melody's boyfriend.
And did you learn at any point that Melody had, how would she contact Rusty Barton?
By phone.
How many phones did you know Melody to have?
She had 2 phones.
Do you know how Rusty was saved in her phone?
Yes, he was in her phone as XO.
And would you see him call or see her text? Is that how you knew
Yes. Yes.
that? Do you know when Rusty entered her life?
I don't know.
Was it prior to you and her becoming friends?
Yes.
He was already in her life?
It was an established relationship prior to that, yes.
At any point did Melody send you her debit card?
Yes.
For what? Well, let me ask you this. Where were you when that happened?
I was in Minnesota. I was in Bagley, Minnesota.
And why did she send you her debit card?
She asked me to use it somewhere locally there because she had told Gary that she was with me.
Where was she, in fact?
She was in the Bahamas
With who?
with Rusty.
You stick around, I'm going to show you. May I approach the witness, Your Honor? I'm showing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit Cooper 1. Do you recognize that address?
Yes.
State moves to admit State's Exhibit Cooper 1.
That's good.
What did she want you to do with the card?
She wanted me to use it up there in Minnesota.
And did you do that?
Yes, I did actually.
Where did you use it?
I used it at a little cafe in Leonard.
Is this the cafe that you used?
It is, yes.
And was that the date on which you used it?
It is, yes.
Did you and Melody remain friends?
After which point?
Up until today. When did the friendship change?
I would say the friendship had changed when I had started going up to Minnesota and spending a lot of time away. I had moved. I wasn't her neighbor anymore, so we had less frequent contact with each other, and that happened. I'm sure early 2018, somewhere in there.
Did you have, how many phone numbers did you have for Melody?
I had 2.
Okay, did you show that to the police?
I did.
You spoke with the police?
Yes, I
After
did.
what happened to Gary? Okay. Do you remember when that was?
Yeah, it was just a few days after his death.
And did you tell them all of the information that you and I are discussing today?
Yes, I did.
Would Gary restrict what Melody purchased?
No, he did not. Not that I'm aware of.
Just had knowledge about what she purchased?
Correct.
That's all I have, Ms. Cooper. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good morning, Ms. Cooper. My name's Michael Ray. I represent Farris. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
You flew down involuntarily from Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you lived, you didn't actually live on Purcell. You lived off one of those little side roads that come off Purcell.
Correct, Hickory Hill.
And you and Melody, y'all used to walk up Purcell, up to Birmingham Highway, and around the neighborhood around Terry Braswell's house.
Yes.
Yeah. And Terry was a friend of yours, too?
Yes.
Okay. And y'all met him walking?
No, I knew Terry for years.
You knew him for, is that because of his business?
Yep. And he had a daughter that used to ride horses where my daughter rode horses, so I met him years ago.
Okay. And then you and Melody were out walking, and he was mowing his grass, and you were like, hey, there's Terry.
Yep.
Okay. And that's how Melody and Terry Braswell met?
Correct.
Okay. Moving on to the phones. Ms. Francis asked you if you had 2 phone numbers for Melody. That is correct, right?
That is correct.
In fact, when y'all used to go walk, you saw her that she had 2 cell phones?
Correct.
Okay. Did Terry Braswell, did she ever have her 2 cell phones when y'all were talking with Terry Braswell on your walk?
Not that I can recall, possibly.
Possibly, though. Regarding the financial aspect of it, I believe you testified that Gary didn't limit what Melody could buy, correct?
That's correct.
And I think you actually said in your interview that it didn't have anything to do with about Melody spending money, right?
Correct.
It was just, he just wanted to know what she was spending money on.
He wanted to know where she was.
Yeah, where she was or what she's buying. All right. Now, you were aware that, because you had been to the Farris' home, right?
I had, yes.
Okay. You were aware that Melody and Gary basically lived separate lives.
Yep.
And that she lived upstairs and he lived downstairs.
Correct.
All right. Now, you had also met Gary at least on one occasion?
Yes, I had, on a couple of occasions.
On multiple occasions? What was Gary's demeanor like when you met him?
Quiet. It's hard to explain. Different.
Okay. Was he friendly?
No. I didn't find him friendly.
Just, because, I mean, you have trouble in your interview, too, trying to describe your interactions with it. He just basically ignored you, didn't he?
Yes,
Just paid you no mind whatsoever.
correct.
And I think you actually said that he wouldn't even make eye contact with you.
Correct.
Was that every time you met with him? Or that you saw him?
Yeah, it was every time.
Okay. Did you ever meet Scott Farris?
Yes.
How many times do you think you met Scott?
A handful, I suppose.
Okay. I believe because your first interaction with Scott is because when you lived on Purcell Lane, well, let me ask you this, right? Is there a lot of farms, or at least a lot of farm animals at Purcell Lane?
There is. There's a lot of horse farms.
Okay. Because I think you had goats.
I had sheep.
Sheep.
And horses.
Okay.
And
Were they like cute little baby sheep? Or
Yeah.
like pettable kind of sheep?
Yes.
Because you had lost some sheep, and I think you had contacted Scott Farris because he
Correct.
had some dogs.
Yes.
Okay. What was Scott like when you met him?
Similar to his dad in personality.
Okay.
Not super friendly. More matter of fact and different.
Okay. And you were invited to Emily's wedding, right?
Yes.
Up
I
in
was.
Tennessee. And that was the point where you actually met Rusty, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you a photograph that's already been admitted into evidence. You may not recognize it, and if you don't know what it shows, then you just say, I don't know what it shows. Okay? Well, let me do it this way real quick. Change the view. And just for the record, showing Payne 10. Can you identify who that is?
That's Rusty Barton.
Okay. Do you know who this is?
Can you move the... I do not know who that
Okay.
is.
I'm just going to flip through and you tell me if you see yourself. Okay? All right, so 10, 9. Oh, well, I went too fast. Hold on. 10, 9.
I'm looking for myself.
Yes, yeah.
I don't see myself.
Okay, a little louder.
I don't see myself.
Okay, yeah, and this is that you?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
me.
Okay, so that's you. Is that the first time you had met Emily or any of them?
Yes, it is the first time.
Had you ever met Amanda before?
I had met Amanda.
Okay. How about Chris?
I had not met Chris prior to that.
All right, so you, at least at the wedding time, you had met 3 out of 4 children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when did you move away from Purcell Lane?
I moved away in the fall of 2016.
Okay, so 2 years before what we're
Correct.
talking about. All right.
Almost. Yep.
And because I know you had gotten divorced, right? And that you got divorced when you lived off Purcell Lane.
Hickory Hill, but yes,
Okay. And did you still live in the general area?
I did.
Okay. That was always the confusing part about your area, was trying to figure out where you lived. All right, so you still lived in the area, and you and Melody could still walk, right?
We walked less because I lived, you'd have to drive to get to me.
Okay.
So we walked less. We occasionally walked
Okay.
after that.
When did you, I know you traveled back and forth a good bit to Minnesota during that period of time. When did you leave Georgia and go to Minnesota?
I was half-time for quite a while there, and maybe 3 years ago I did it permanently.
Did it permanently? Okay, so you're kind of back and forth between 16 and 2024?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yep.
up till, well, 2021, really.
correct. Until I was still coming back during COVID, so probably 2021.
Okay. And I believe that's because you have a child down here?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Yeah.
Ms. Rankin, she had asked you about Melody getting divorced. You had talked to her about getting a divorce, right?
Yes.
And I believe you had told Ms. Franken, and maybe I misheard you, or I just didn't understand your answer. You said, did Melody tell you that she didn't want to get divorced because she didn't want to lose access to funds?
She didn't say that exactly, no.
Okay. Is that kind of your interpretation of maybe what she was meaning?
I would say quite possibly, yes.
Okay. Because when you got divorced in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're aware that Georgia has equitable distribution of assets?
I'm actually not, because we made our own agreement, and it was
Okay.
very amicable, so no, I'm not familiar with the Georgia laws with regard to.
So you did an uncontested divorce and y'all settled your own assets?
Correct.
Okay. And you divided up your assets?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the whole debit card thing, you said Melody was in the Bahamas. Would it refresh your memory that, or that's the wrong way, she was actually in Jamaica. Now, does it really matter? Bahamas, Jamaica, whatever.
Yeah.
Were you aware that at least one of her adult children knew that she was in Jamaica?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay. But you knew she was in Jamaica?
Only by a text, and I thought it was the Bahamas, but
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
yeah.
It's still Caribbean.
Sure.
Right. So she had texted you and said, hey, I'm in Jamaica, use my debit card?
The text came from Rusty's phone.
Okay. And it said, how did she get you her debit card? If
She
she's in
mailed it.
Jamaica.
She mailed it.
She mailed it from Jamaica. Do you know how long she was in Jamaica?
I don't.
Okay. Was it 9 days? Sound about right?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. One second. Thank you, ma'am.
I have no redirect, Judge.
All right, you step down. We have a really quick witness.
We don't, Judge, and actually the next witness is.
That's fine. All right. We were going to break early anyway. I don't know that lunch is here yet because I haven't gotten a message, but it should be arriving shortly. We're going to break till 12:30 because that's how long my virtual meeting with the consulting group is going to be. So